All right, thanks for joining today for our culinary judges training. I know this is the first time for, I think, both of you to be judging for the culinary competition for ProStart, which is exciting. We're happy to have some new blood in the game. I just took a couple slides on just what ProStart is so that you can understand a little bit of the background and then how we and then more about the competition and the specifics of that. So let's see. Can you see what is ProStart? Just make sure it's working. So ProStart is a 2-year high school culinary and restaurant management curriculum. So it's run by the National Restaurant Association Educational Foundation. And as the ProStart coordinator for our state, I act as the liaison between the national program, the local schools in our state that offer it, and then the restaurateurs like you who help support it, doing programs like the competition, et cetera. ProStart overall is in all 50 states, Guam, the District of Columbia, with over 140,000 students enrolled nationwide. In Connecticut, we have over 1,500 students participating in the ProStart program, and these are all of the high schools where we have students enrolled this year. So we have grown significantly over the past couple of years, which is great. We've gone from 3 schools to almost 18 programs in the past 10 years. So the Connecticut ProStart Invitational is basically the road to NIPSI. So the National ProStart Invitational is the national competition put on by the NRAEF, and each state is required, if they want to participate, to do their own state competition. So that is what we are doing. The National ProStart Invitational is in May in Washington, D.C., takes place over 3 days. There's over 90 teams. They award a national championship in both culinary and restaurant management and offer over $1 million in scholarship opportunities. It's a great event for students, chefs, and everyone. For the culinary competition, they prepare a 3-course meal using only their 2 butane burners and 60 minutes, and they're judged on teamwork, safety, sanitation, cooking techniques, taste, and menu development. More there. So in the Connecticut this year, we have 5 culinary teams from 4 different high schools. So Enfield High School is participating. They actually have 2 teams that they're entering. We have Fitch High School in Groton, Wilbur-Cross High School in New Haven, and Windsor High School will be participating in culinary. And then Enfield has a team in management, and so does Wilbur-Cross. So the management competition, I didn't go too much into it here, but in that competition, which will be happening the same time as culinary, just in a separate room, they create their own restaurant concept and present it to the panel of judges. And they get judged on operations, menu development, concept, and marketing plans. And then they're also asked critical thinking questions where they have to think about different scenarios that could happen in their restaurant and how they would solve them. A quick shout out to our sponsors. Yay. Subway has been a longtime sponsor of ours, so we're happy that they're back. And then lots of other new sponsors as well. Thank you to our supporting sponsors. Yard Goats is definitely working with us. Cisco is providing lunch. Carrie Gagnon's Dunkin's is breakfast. Coca-Cola Northeast is providing beverages, and Falvey donates the uniforms for our teams who go on to nationals. All right. So the breakdown of the schedule. This is for the culinary. So we have our product check-in, which will have 2 teams going at once, starting at 8:30. So the teams will start to arrive around 8, and then they should be ready to go for the first 2 teams for product check-in at 8:30. And then the team and menu introduction for those first 2 teams will start at 9:20. And from there, they'll start every 20 minutes. So we'll have 2 more teams start at 9:40, and then our 5th team will start at 10 a.m. They have a 20-minute mise en place, which is when they can set up everything. They don't do any cooking at all and no food preparation during that time. They really are just setting up their space and getting ready for their cooking segment. The cooking is 1 hour, so they have 60 minutes. Then they present their plates. They're going to create 2 identical dishes. And then they pick their best one. One goes to the tasting judges, one goes to the presentation table so people can take pictures, and then they go into their critiques. So I'll go a little bit further in depth here. So for product check-in, so both of you I have as tasting judges, but I'll go through a little bit of everything so that I can send this out as recording. So for our product check-in judges, they check everything for their temps, make sure things are properly packaged, compare their product list to their inventory lists, to the actual inventory that they've brought. The product check-in judges don't look at any of the equipment. The only thing that they would need to watch, and that would be more work skills, but that would make sure that they're not using anything that they're not supposed to be using. You're not allowed to have anything electric, nothing battery powered other than your scale and your thermometers. And then everything should just be refrigerated or be on ice, so everything comes temped correctly. And then they do all that, and then these are our product check-in judges. Just a note that if the product isn't on the list, we don't take it from them. They would just get a point deducted. So if they said, if they have like 3 lemons, but there's no lemons on the list, they still get to use the lemons because you don't want to like ruin their recipe. If they forgot the lemons, that's a whole nother story and they just need to deal with it. Work skills. This work skill judges will judge the intro where they introduce themselves and their menu. They'll watch for mise en place, work skills and safety and sanitation. Again, no food prep is allowed during that time. Their cooking segment, like I said, is 60 minutes to create the 2 identical meals. There's going to be 2 teams going at the same time. It's unlikely that they'll finish exactly at the same time, but the judges will need to float back and forth, and they will be placed right next to each other. So they'll be able to go back and forth between those 2. As the competition goes on, we're going to actually have 3 teams kind of going, or all 5 teams will be going at the same time. So the judges will kind of have to go back and forth and check out and see how they're doing in all the areas. The teams can finish at 57 minutes. So they have 60 minutes to complete everything. They can present up to 3 minutes early. If they aren't done at the 60 minutes, they don't stop. They keep going until they're done. They get a penalty for each 15 seconds over. At 10 minutes over, they would technically be disqualified, but I've never had that happen at the state level. And I still would want them to continue and keep on going. Just a judge's tips, it's a learning event. So if you see someone doing something wrong or dangerous, they're holding a knife the wrong way, definitely correct them, make sure that they're being safe, engage, ask questions, encourage them. Just don't make suggestions to change something because they're doing what they planned and it's their menu. So the students will then return to their workstation for feedback on cooking after they drop their trays off to the tasting judges, and the work skills judges will then give them their feedback on their work skills. On to the tasting judges. So our judges are broken down by appetizer judge, entree judge, and dessert judge. We have 2 for each. So if you're looking at the schedule, we're going to end up with 2 teams with 2 sets of plates at the same time. So that's why you're going to be just focused on one segment. The plates are going to be coming back quickly. So you'll have 10 minutes for tasting, and then they come back for their judging. So that's why to be able to do all of them would be difficult. And this does mirror what they do at nationals, where specific judges focus on specific dishes. So what we're going to do, we have, I don't know if you are familiar with the Yard Goats Stadium, but we're using the hospitality suites that are right off of the Yard Goat Club for the tasting rooms. So what we're planning to do, and hopefully this works, because this is a new setup for all of us, but having all of the judges in one room for the actual tasting piece, and then one set of judges will go for the feedback, go into the other room so that the students aren't in the same room hearing each other's feedback. I think the first time it might be like, oh, okay, what are we doing? But I think it'll work out. 10 minutes for the tasting and menu, and each judge should only address their tasting item. So I have Olivia Formica and Chef Santiago. I have you on appetizer. Matt, I have you and Dave Retigliano on entree, and also reviewing the menu books. Which, and then the dessert, Kristen Eddy and Scott Miller. Do you have any questions on the tasting?
Well, that's good.
Cleanup and safety sanitation. After they receive their feedback from the tasting judges, they will return to their workstation. They clean up everything, make it pretty much the same way as they found it. Everything will then be moved out of that workstation, put into a third hospitality suite for storage. Or they could bring it to their buses if they wanted, but we're going to have a space for them to put it so they don't have to leave the space if they don't want to. And then the safety and sanitation judges give their feedback, and that is on the safety and sanitation through the whole course of the day. And then they are dismissed and they're free to go. I will send you the specific judging sheets. But they were in the rules that I sent. They're kind of at the back, or probably in the middle of that culinary section. But I'll give you that. And there's a rubric as well, which which I will send if I haven't already, that gives you an idea of, what does it mean? I will tell you that if you look at the scores, the tasting really is the most important part. So even though you could have great work skills and be super organized and everything, if the food doesn't taste good, it doesn't work out so well for you. Do either of you have any questions?
No, I think it looks good. I'll go through the judging battle one, but it looks good.
Yeah. Okay. So then if you look at the so for the tasting, I mean, you're obviously welcome to come and check out and watch the beginning of the cooking, and then the tasting will really begin at the 10:45 for the first segment. So come anytime before that, and then be ready to be in your tasting room by 10:30, so that you can be ready to go. And then Matt, Dave has been reviewing those, the books for years. So he kind of knows what to look for, but I did want a second set of eyes. And I figured since you guys were both doing the entree, it kind of made sense for you just to both do those pieces together.
Sure.
And then what will happen for the feedback is one judge will stay with one team and one judge will go to the other team, give the feedback. So let me see, I put, excuse me. Let me just look really quick. Okay, so I have, so for example, so I have Enfield's first team going and then Windsor going at the same time. So one of each of the tasting judges will stay in room 1 for Enfield, and then the other 3 judges will go to room 2 and give feedback to Windsor. That makes sense.
Sounds perfect.
All right.
So I'll plan on being there around 9:30, we should be fine, right?
Yeah, that should be more than fine. Yeah, I'll give you, you'll be able to look through the books and everything before that.
Okay,
I can get rid of this file, will be good.
yeah, I'll be there as early as I can.
What else? Masks. Hartford does not have a mask mandate. However, at least one of our schools still does. So we are in the process of figuring out the best way to handle that. Because the schools are changing their policies today. But we know that at least one of them is not, and their students will continue to have to wear masks. So we're just trying to figure out what the best way to make it fair to everyone. Stay tuned. I would just ask if there's some students wearing masks and some who aren't, that we just try to not have them be a factor in judging. Whether it's their personal decision to continue to wear one or a mandate that they're following. And that's about it.
Oh, that sounds good. So we get there like around 8:30 to like meet the students and whatnot.
Yeah, the students will start coming in by between 8 and 8:15. And then product check-in will be at 8:30. And the students will be kind of getting ready and milling around. And then there'll be other students there from all of the schools just coming to watch as well. So most of them are bringing somewhere between 5 and 15 additional students with them to watch.
Oh, no, that's awesome. I mean, I would like to go early to meet some of the kids and
You're welcome.
internships and whatnot.
You're welcome to be here. Yep, absolutely. We will be there.
Oh, that sounds
All
good.
right. Okay, so you'll get a few more emails from me regarding logistics. Parking is across the street. One never knows if ProPark will be there to charge us or not. I don't really want to call them to let them know. But there is parking right across the street or on street parking. That's about it.
Okay. But thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you
Jen.
guys.
See
All
you
right,
later.
I'll see you guys Thursday. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.